YouTube, it's Emma Blue Eyes 10 and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Etiquette episode 7, and I really do hope you enjoy. Today's topic is going to be about card rulings, because this is quite a big topic and I've had some requests from some of you guys to talk about this, so I'm just going to give you my experience and my thoughts on the matter. Okay, card rulings are extremely important in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because obviously they determine how the card actually works, what it's supposed to do, and in turn that action of the card obviously determines how the duel will go. What I would like to stress out mainly is know the rulings of every card in your own decks. I cannot stress this more than as possible, because it's very important. If you know the rulings of your own cards, then obviously it's going to save a lot of bother later on if you come across any problems you might have in the duel. But if you're unsure, you know, just ask the judge or ask somebody who's got a very good intimate knowledge of rulings and everything. For example, I can ask the judges at my locals, but there's also 2 or 3 other people who are very experienced players and very good on the rulings, which I can ask if the judges are busy or whatever. So yeah, and also it really does help if you know the rulings of commonly played cards in like big tournament decks. For example, making sure you know how the Insectors, Wind-Ups, Dino Rabbit, Dark World, Samurai cards work really. So if you go up against them, then you know how they're supposed to work, because unfortunately there are people who will abuse rulings to suit what action they're trying to do in the duel. I've seen it happen on Duel Network, and I haven't experienced it, but I have seen others experience it, and you know, it's not pleasant to say the least, because that in a way is a form of cheating. There are people who will generally make misplays with rulings. It does happen. I've done it. You've probably done it as well, so don't panic if you do make a genuine mistake on that part. You know, everybody makes mistakes, as I've said. But for the people who really try to intimidate you or try to force through a ruling of a card that isn't actually supposed to happen, I wouldn't rise to it. Just call a judge over or that person and get that ruling sorted. That way it saves problem later on, and the one who's making the mistake can be corrected and obviously learn not to do that again, hopefully. But of course, as I said, if they're trying to force you into accepting a ruling, then that is actually a kind of intimidation and a form of bullying, so immediately let the judge know about that. Other things about card rulings that I would like to discuss really is, for example, knowing obscure rulings. Now, this is actually learned through experience and reading up on your knowledge and everything. I suppose one good example I could give would be, like, for example, the cards Solemn Judgment and Solemn Warning. If those cards negate the summon of a monster that has a specific summoning requirement, so I'm talking about fusion monsters, synchro monsters, exceed monsters, Nomai monsters, and semi-Nomai monsters. God, that's a mouthful. And because those conditions were not met when that card technically hit the field, and because those conditions weren't met before the card hit the field, it cannot be resurrected from the graveyard. However, effect monsters and normal monsters that do not have summoning requirements, obviously they can be resurrected from the graveyard. Another kind of like card rulings is like cards that can get around certain rulings. For example, Pot of Duality versus Future Fusion. Now, Pot of Duality, as you know, its second effect is you can't special summon that turn. Future Fusion can get around that. It sends the fusion material monsters to the grave, but it doesn't actually special summon that turn. So that's a kind of combo that's very good for getting around, you know, that kind of problem. Again, these things are learned through experience, watching other people do it, that sort of thing. The final thing on card rulings I'd like to mention is that some people try to get around a card's action where you have to do one or the other. Again, I'll choose Pot of Duality as an example. Pot of Duality is you either play it and don't special summon, or you special summon and don't play Pot of Duality. I know that sounds really weird, but it's actually true, because some people will say, oh wait, I'll special summon first, then I'll play Pot of Duality. That's actually a big no-no. It's actually not allowed. If you play a card action, you have to follow the action on the card. If it says you cannot special summon that turn, it means the whole turn. So it doesn't mean you can't get around it by special summoning and then play Pot of Duality. It just does not work like that, I'm afraid. Again, it's a bit of an obscure ruling. It takes time and practice and experience to learn these things, but you know, there's nothing wrong with asking others for that, or going online to see the rulings on the cards and everything. I mean, I know it can be a bit of a hassle trying to read up and memorise everything. I mean, I try my absolute best to memorise the rulings for the cards in my own deck, but I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You just have to try your best. Anyway guys, I hope that was helpful and I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you later. Bye!